and variation and evolution, you first need to understand at the root level the difference between phenotype and genotype. So what's phenotype? What are the characteristics that you can call phenotype? Basically, all that you can see is the phenotype. In humans, the eye color and hair color are phenotype. The phenotype of an organism is an organism's actually observed properties like appearance, development, or behavior. And genotype is an organism's full hereditary information. Now, the part of the genotype that is expressed is called the phenotype. Expressed. Big word. What does it mean? Nothing much. When the information that is there in your genes gets manifested or shown, it's called gene expression. Now, the phenotype that you see is because of the combination of the genotype that you have and the environmental factors that affect it. We're going to see how exactly in a short while. Now, genotype is nothing but the genetic information that you carry. Now, each trait in you, which you can see, has two parts or two alleles, one each from mom and dad. Now, let's go back to a little bit of basics about the nucleus, the hot spot of the cell, where you can file all this blueprinted information that apparently decides what you're going to look like and a lot more features that make you so special. So, if I take a typical cell over here, the nucleus is right here in the middle. Let's zoom in and see what's happening. This darker part over here, this is called the nucleolus. The nucleus takes decisions and makes important laws for the cell based on the information it gets from the chromosomes inside the nucleolus, which you can identify as the darker portion of the nucleus. Now, all the information or the important information is blueprinted in the chromosomes, which are like special strand-like structures made up of protein and DNA. DNA was that deoxyribonucleic acid. Now, the DNA has important hereditary information. By hereditary information, I again mean the information that you have inherited from your parents that describes all your features, your genotype. The protein called histones keep the DNA neatly wrapped up and coiled, because if it was not for the proteins, the DNA would not fit, in this way. In fact, if you take out the DNA, all the DNA from a body, of one person's body, it would stretch to the sun. Not once, not twice, but an astounding 600 times, okay? So that long and bound so tightly in your nucleus. And since life starts as a single cell, it keeps on dividing to produce new cells which come together to give you tissues and organs and organ systems, and then you. So all the information that is required to form all these tissues, organs, and organ systems is found in the DNA. Now, the cells in your body keep on dividing so that this important genetic information is passed on, and the portion of the DNA segment that contains all this information is called a gene. G-E-N-E, okay? We look a bit like our parents do because of our DNA. And same is the story with you. A puppy would carry its parents' DNA too and would hence look like them. It's the same story for every single creature that reproduces sexually. What determines each one of us at the gene level is our DNA, our genotype. I hope it's really, really clear now. Coming to chromosomes, all eukaryotes have them, and they have them in different numbers. We humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Pair because there are 2 of each type. So in total, we have 23 into 2, 46 chromosomes. Because they come in pairs, they are called diploid. Okay? Now, since these pairs of chromosomes are so similar, we call them homologous chromosome pairs. Homologous is a simple word. Once you break it up, homo is similar, logo is relation. So same relation or similar relation. There are only one pair of cells that are haploid. They have exactly half that information, and they are found in, yes, the sex cells, that is the sperm and the egg. So that when they come together, the resulting cell called the zygote gets one full set of 46 chromosomes. And then this keeps on dividing. Now, not long after homologous chromosomes were discovered, someone noticed one exception. Human males have one pair that is not homologous. The larger these chromosomes was called X and the smaller was called Y. So we boil down to one big basic genetic difference between human males and females. Females have 2 X chromosomes. Males have 1 X and 1 Y. The other 22 pairs of chromosomes are the same. Not to confuse you or anything, but with birds it's exactly the opposite. XX is male and XY is female. Some organisms have more than 2 pairs of each chromosomes, and these are called polyploid, because poly is many. Some plants are polyploid, like potatoes, they're polyploid. Don't worry, just this fact does not make potatoes better than you. So when there is a single set of unpaired chromosomes, it's called haploid. And bees can be said to be very, very, very bees there. Okay, males develop from unfertilized eggs, they're all haploid, whereas all females are diploid. What is the significance of diploid? Remember, I told you that you inherit traits from mom and dad. So it so happens that you get 1/2 of your DNA from mom and 1/2 from dad. Now, all your body cells will have the same mix of DNA, so the 46 chromosomes grouped into 22 pairs are pairs with good reason. 1 in each pair from mom and 1 from dad. Those pairs of chromosomes are pretty similar, but they're not identical. They contain versions of the same gene called alleles, and these alleles are found in the same spots on the chromosomes. So, if you want to talk about any kind of features like having dimples or the ability to roll your tongue or the fact that your earlobes are free or attached, all of these have different alleles. This essentially means that if you look into a chromosome, you will find different parts of the DNA of the chromosome responsible for different traits. But the beauty is you get 1 copy from mom and 1 copy from dad. And if mom's earlobes are free and dad's are attached, how does your body decide which one you have? All of this is related to something called dominance and recessiveness, which just simply means that in nature there are some traits that are more favorable, and thus when we interact with the recessive form of the trait, the dominant one is expressed. And as I told you before, expressed is not a big word, expressed just means visible. Turns out that having dimples is dominant over not having them, rolling a tongue is dominant over not rolling. And one more very interesting one, having wet earwax turns out to be dominant over having dry earwax. Cellular DNA is the information source for making proteins in the cell. A section of the DNA that provides information for one protein is called the gene of that protein. Brings me down to my next big important question. Why exactly are proteins this important? To answer that, let me take an example of tallness. Tallness is a characteristic. Now we know that plants have hormones that can trigger growth. Plant height can depend on the amount of a particular plant hormone. The amount of the plant hormone made again will depend on the efficiency of the process for making it. Obviously. Now consider an enzyme that is important for this process. If this enzyme works well, a lot of hormone will be made and the plant will be tall. If the gene for that enzyme has an alteration that makes the enzyme less efficient, the amount of hormone will be lesser and the plant will be short. And that's exactly how we can confidently say that genes control characteristics or traits. So as you must have guessed, there has to be the smart man scientist or scientist who first realized and discovered that these things exist, how these things work, and surprise, surprise, this smart man scientist was a scientist as well as a monk. He was an Augustinian monk from Austria who in his spare time, hold your breath, fed pea plants, who he must have loved so dearly and was totally obsessed with. A little known fact is that Mendel began his studies on heredity using mice. He was at St. Thomas's Abbey, but his bishop did not like one of his friars studying animal sex. So Mendel, sadly switched to plants. Now you must be assuming that he would be quite a gardener, but no, he was not just any amateur gardener, but a scientist who studied his pea plants so carefully, he called them his children. Oh my God, what kind of dad does experiments on his kids? And why exactly did he choose peas? It was pure luck, actually, but they turned out to be perfect models for genetic research with so many stable varieties. There was a tall variety and a short one. One type made smooth, round peas, while others were lumpy and wrinkled. There were green peas, yellow peas, grey seed coats and white seed coats, white flowers and purple flowers, and so on. Since every pea flower has both male and female parts, by default they would fertilize themselves. So Mendel practiced some family planning on them and set about his task on creating hybrid varieties.